company. Y'all, I am live for the second time today. That's the joy of Christmas in July, is you get to see a lot more of me. We are going to make over this little birdhouse this afternoon. So we're going to do a little thrift store makeover. This birdhouse, I'm not really sure where it came from. Trisha actually picked it out and wanted me to redo it. And so we're going to redo it today for Christmas. And we're going to do a traditional red and green Christmas for her. And we are going to have some fun with this. All right. So I'm not 100% sure what we're going to do. We're just going to see, where it takes us. But all I know is it's going to be cute when we're done. I can tell that this started out as a patriotic birdhouse, and whoever bought it originally has already done a makeover to it. And because the reason why I can tell is because they've painted over this star, which was navy blue and had white stars on it. So they've already redone it. And so we are going to redo it again. And this time it's going to become a Christmas birdhouse. All right. So that's the plan. So we'll see how it goes. When you hop on, say hello. Let me know you're watching. I did not send out a text message today. I only sent out a message in the Facebook channel because we are limited on how many text messages we can send out per month. And we're already sending out a lot more because it's Christmas in July. And so I decided not to send one out for this. So I just did the Facebook channel message. So when you hop on, say, hey, let me know you're watching. I'm going to go ahead and I need to wipe this down because it is dirty. I can see the dirt has settled on the top. So I'm going to go ahead and start wiping this down while y'all are hopping on. And then we'll jump into this project. It's got a really fun texture on the roof. I like that. Or something different to have a little texture. I am going to go ahead and remove this star. It's already lifted. And so we're going to add it back later. But for now, I'm just going to go on and get it removed and out of my way. It just basically came right off. And I'm not really worried about any that's left because we're going to put it back on anyways. So it's not really a big deal. But whoever had this before, they did a little stenciling and a little whitewashing on here, a little distressing. I can tell that it was a red before it was this blue color. All right, so let's see who we've got joining me today. This afternoon. If you missed my live a little bit ago, I went live and we did the paper mache snowman. Didn't he turn out so stinking adorable? So those are 15% off today, along with the rusty stars. They're 15% off, and deco art paint as well. Okay. Hi, Lori. Hello, Michelle. Hey, Dana. Thanks for celebrating, Michelle. Hi, Carolyn. Hey, Dale. Hi, Marcia. Thank you, Marcia. Sometimes it's easier than others. Teresa, I know twice in one day. Hey, Evelyn. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, Evelyn. I'm glad you're here. Hi, Tina. I'm so glad you liked the snowman. All right. So let's get into it, okay? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to first paint the roof, okay? And we're going to paint it in a red. And I really haven't decided which red I want to use. So whether I want to do deep burgundy or bright red, I think I'm just going to mix the two of them. Okay, I think that's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna mix them because I can't decide, and so why not? We'll just mix them. Let me grab a paintbrush. This fly is still flying around here, getting on our nerves. You know what? Let's go a little bit more. Hi, Lisa. Hey, Ethel. All right, so mixing the two, Santa Red and Deep Burgundy. So we'll get a deeper red instead of a burgundy. Might make it cover a little bit better too. And we're just gonna paint the roof. We'll have to do a couple of coats, I would say. Hi, Glinda. Good to see you. Okay. I got to get the underside as well. It looks like 2 coats is going to work, hopefully. I got to get the underside, and I am actually not going to worry so much about the cut-in because I'm going to be decoupaging, and this is actually going to make it easier to just do this kind of roughly. And that way, none of that blue is going to show between the red roof and what I'm decoupaging onto the edge of it, onto the front here. Okay, so I'm just kind of painting down on the edge on the front of it. That way I have all that blue covered. Like I said, we're going to cover that blue with some paper, so we might as well just go on and paint it like that. Is it rainy there? You know, we have a flood watch, and it has not rained at all today. So I don't know. Now, the other day when I took Griffin to camp on Monday, it absolutely rained a torrential downpour while I was on my way to Louisville to take him. And it rained so hard, people had their flashers on. I had my flashers on, and Griffin even said, "How are you seeing to drive?" I'm like, well, bud, it's not real easy, but, you know, I'm doing it anyways. All right. So I'm going to just get this back here a little bit. And let's dry this, and then we'll do a second coat. Love the red already, don't y'all? A red roof on a birdhouse just feels right. Whew. I got it on the carpet. That's all right. Hi, Linda. Let's just dry this down. All right. Okay, let's go on with a second coat. Hello, Elizabeth. Hi, Chloe. Okay, second coat looks pretty good. Okay, go. I have lots of ideas for this birdhouse, but we're just going to play it by ear. You never know where it's going to take us. So we'll just kind of see what happens today. Okay. Get the back, and then we'll get the underside. And I think our red is pretty much done. I think it's good enough. All right, there we go. Okay, so let's dry the roof. And then we can move on to the decoupage. We are going to distress this roof to bring out that texture a little bit more. Hey again, Jackie. Sydney, that sounds like a fun day. All right. It's already looking more Christmassy. So here's where we're at. That's what the roof looks like. Again, we mixed together deep burgundy and Santa red to get this color. By the way, the Decoar paint's 15% off today, okay? All right, so now we're going to do a little decoupage. I am going to try and remove this perch, and we'll add it back in later. Look how easy that came out. We'll add it back in, but that's going to help us to decoupage a little bit easier so we have a flat surface to work on. And I have got some sheet music here, so we're going to use some sheet music on this. And I'm trying to, okay, I think I'm going to use these because I have enough of those that we can do the same thing all around. So, hi, Lynn. I'm glad you are able to join this afternoon. You're just a little bit late. We're just getting started. All I've done really is paint the roof. I've still got a long way to go. All right, so let's grab our decoupage glue and a paintbrush. This is not going to, the front of this is not going to like decoupage real well because of these spots where the star is. Now the star is going to be, it's going to cover that, but I'm worried a little bit about around those areas, how it's going to do. So we'll see. Hi, Jackie. So I'm just going to get, I do want a thin layer because I'm using sheet music, which definitely has is a little bit thinner than what I typically use. So I think I'm going to come back with a pouncer to just sort of smooth it out a little bit. But I need the brush to be able to get into some of the crevices up there. So let me grab a pouncer and see if I can smooth it out a bit so that it's not so thick. I want a nice thin layer. I probably should have painted the base, but I didn't, so we'll take care of that later. All right, so I'm just going to apply the sheet music. And I'll just start kind of doing the body down towards the base and everything. And then I'm just going to work my way up to the top, and I'll just press with my finger right up against the roof line. Okay. I'll even grab my scraper, my Celebration Company scraper, to help push that up into that roof line. Okay. Now I'm going to dry this. I'm glad you did, Janet. I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to trim it and remove the excess. Okay. So let me grab a knife. And we'll trim the excess up here. It helps a lot if you dry it before you start trimming, because otherwise your paper is likely to tear. Okay, so then for the edges, I'm just going to take my sander and sand off the excess. Alright, and for these spots I can't get to, I'm just going to take the knife and just trim that. Okay, just like that. So then we have to get this star dealt with. So I'm just going to use my knife here, and I'm just trying to kind of fill around for the star. Kind of just push like that. And then I think I'll take my file. we go. So now let's keep going. We're going to do the other sides with the sheet music as well. So we're just going to cover the whole thing in sheet music. I'm going to use the brush again because I got to get up here in order to get the glue up there. Okay. And I'm going to use this piece right here. It's just about perfect. I didn't, Lynn, and I noticed like I can't see it from here because there's something here in the way. But I did notice I got another bit right here. So I'm just gonna get a new shirt. No big deal. Y'all know I don't do that very often. I have done a lot of painting today. All right, so we got to dry it first. Cut off the excess and sand away the excess. Does it? Yeah, I can try it. I might be able to use our what's it called? That soap that we use for cleaning brushes. It might help. All right, so I'm just taking this brush and just cleaning up this side here. Okay. All right, let's do the back. By the way, y'all, we do have sheet music available on the website. You can get some sheet music if you don't have any to use. It is all vintage sheet music for your projects. It's always great for stuff like this to decoupage onto backgrounds. Okay, that looks pretty good. So again, I just want to press up into that roof line. Hey, Stacy, we're making a Christmas birdhouse. Alright, I'm going to dry this before I remove the excess to help keep it from tearing. And it's still tore down here, which you really do need a nice sharp knife. I did not put a new blade on here. Let me turn it around. Always does a better job if you put a new blade. Thank you, Stacy. I hope so. All right, where these two sides meet up, I'm just going to use my decoupage brush again and just make sure that those two edges are sealed. Because once you start to decoupage or sand, I can't get my words right today, y'all. Once you start to sand, you will pull some of that existing side down. Okay, last side. All right. And piece of sheet music. Okay. There we go. The other reason why I love to decoupage because it just covers what was there so easily. All right. Getting the grand on Monday for two. Oh, fun, Jackie. That'll be fun. You're going to be exhausted. All right. Here we go. Let's just make sure these edges look good. Okay, so here is where we're at. It's looking good. Now we need to do the base, which I should have done earlier. Hi, Angelia. All right. Should have painted the base earlier, but I didn't. I forgot. So we're going to do it now. And we're just going to do the best that we can. So I'm just using the same color that I used on the roof. I hear you, Jackie. Yep, you'll be good. Oh, fun. How old is your grandchild, Jackie? Okay. There's the first coat. Hi, Dana. Good to see you. All right, we will need to do a second coat. Thank you, Dana. Okay. Ooh. You know what? I think my air is not on. That's why it's getting hot down here. The power went out earlier, and I think that the air didn't get turned back on. It didn't come back on automatically. Isn't that dumb? And that's why it's hot. I'm like, why is it so hot down here? I think that's why. I'm gonna have to go upstairs and turn the air back on. I went upstairs earlier and I thought, gosh, it feels muggy in here, which I'm used to it warming up during the day because we have a really bad window. And so I'm used to it getting warm. And it's 76. And I was like, well, that's really not unusual. But it is a little bit cooler today. It's only 83 today. So I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I don't think my air is on. Thank you, Cheryl. Y'all just wait. We are just getting started. We still got a long way to go. Okay, so we got the last coat for the base. Like I said, I should have done the base before I did the paper, but I forgot. Okay. That's done. Now we need to do the star. I'm sure, Jennifer, that's really exciting. All right. I do want to paint the inside of this star right here because it's blue and it's sort of bugging me. So I'm going to get some buttermilk and use it to paint the inside of this star real quick. My air conditioning quit on Tuesday night. Oh no, my husband got up, figured out what the part was in the unit outside. Oh gosh, that's miserable. That is miserable, Tina. I'm glad y'all got it fixed. So I am just going to take this buttermilk color, which is pretty darn close to the color of the sheet music, and paint inside this star. Okay. So that's going to help. I might have to do a second coat, but it helps a lot. So we're going to move on to this star, which goes on the outside like that. And we don't want it blue, of course, because we're trying to go Christmassy here. And I think the star was originally a patriotic birdhouse, which makes sense, right? But we don't want this to be a patriotic birdhouse. We want it to be a Christmas one. So I think that I'm going to go rusty on this. And so I'm going to paint it milk chocolate. And then I think I'm going to add some cinnamon to it. I think. So let's get it painted first. No, Jennifer, this is a thrift store makeover, so this one is not on the website, but several of the things that I am using today is on the website. I'll probably have to do 2 coats of this. I want to make sure I get all the edges. I could definitely do it green, but I don't want to do it green. I want to do it rusty. That's just where my head's at. Okay, let's dry this and we'll do a second coat. I want to make sure that we cover up all the little stars that's on this. It's got like, there were some white stars on it to begin with. So I want to make sure to get all of those covered. All right, looks like second coat's gonna pretty well do it. Especially if we're gonna do some cinnamon on here. Okay. Telling you, I gotta get a fly swatter and get rid of this fly. It is driving me nuts. All right, that looks pretty good. So this is kind of what it looks like with the milk chocolate. So let's grab, let me see. I hope I've got cinnamon down here because yes, I do. Okay. So let me grab a paper towel. And decoupage. All right, I'm gonna use a pouncer for this. And we're just gonna cover the star in glue. I'm not really worrying about the edges. We're focusing on the top. Since we painted the edges, it'll be fine. We painted it, the base, the same color as the cinnamon. So let's sprinkle this all over. Make sure it's all covered. Thanks for sprinkling, Cindy. Hello, Cindy. All right. Oops, daisies. Okay. Just going to get rid of the excess, and then we're going to dry it. Make sure it's completely dry. All right, let's get rid of this. Okay. So now I'm just going to take more decoupage glue and go over top of this again. So I'm just going to take my pouncer and just dab the glue right on top of the cinnamon. And this is just going to seal it all in. It also gives it a different color, which I really like, the way that it makes it look. There we go. Okay. Let's try this. Hi, Pam. Takes a little bit to dry completely so that there's no more white. That's funny, Lynn. It's funny how our bodies do that. Okay, I think I'm going to take a little bit of raw umber. And another pouncer. And I just want to do a little bit on this star. I'm just kind of rubbing it around the inside edge and the outside edge. And this just kind of gives it a little more detail. Okay. All right, y'all. So this will get glued right onto the front. Okay, so let's do that. I'm going to clean this up, this surface up though. Now that our birdhouse is painted and everything, let me clean up a little bit so that I don't make a mess of it. And we'll move on to the embellishment. Hey, Rhonda. I'm glad you're here. We may add a little bit more detail to the birdhouse in a little bit. like a little bit of raw umber on the edges or something like that. Okay. All right. Now that we've got a clean surface, should probably get my hands clean too. Okay. So I do want to distress the top of this. So I'm going to take my sander, and I'm not going to do it that way because it's going to bring out the blue, and I don't want that. So let's instead use the pouncer and raw umber. So we'll just remove the excess. And then just very gently just take and rub over top of the raised area. And then this will just bring out that detail without us having to sand and expose that blue that's underneath. I'm going to just come around the edges with it as well. Just like that. And we'll do the same thing over here. Get a little bit more paint. A little bit too much paint. Okay. Y'all, it's so quiet in here. All right. I'm just rubbing this on the sides and on the roof line. Okay, so there's our roof. We're going to do the same thing to the edges. So I'm just going to run my pouncer right along the edges. And I'm going to do the same thing on the base. Hi, Nancy. I don't know if I said hello to you or not. The Birdhouse is a thrift store find. So this is one of those situations where you'll just have to find, you know, a birdhouse from a thrift store or Hobby Lobby or something like that, and then Makeover, do something similar to what I'm doing. Okay, so now let's glue the star on. All right, there we go. Okay, so now we just need to embellish and just make this thing really look Christmassy. Okay, because right now it's not necessarily Christmassy, but we want it to be Christmassy. Okay, so this is where we're at right now. So we're going to embellish this and really make it look Christmassy. So I did think about putting it on a bigger base. So I've got this piece of wood here, and I think I'm going to do that, and that way we can add like some trees and stuff around it. So let's just take this same red paint and we'll paint this little scrap piece of wood. I don't really know where this came from. It looks like something that probably came in a package of a few You know what? I don't need to paint the whole thing. Let me just paint the edges. Save paint. Okay. Let me dry this, and then I'm going to try and get another coat on. Trisha says she's loving it so far. Okay, let's see if we can get a second coat on here real quick. Ugh, that fly is driving me crazy. Go away. Okay. I think that should be good enough. The scar is not metal, Rhonda. It came on the Birdhouse, and we just painted it with milk chocolate and then used cinnamon on it to give it that rusty look. Okay, so this Birdhouse is just going to sit on here, and I'm going to scooch it to the back so I've got more space in the front to work with, and I'm just going to glue this down with hot glue. So I'm just centering it and lining it up with the back so that we've got a wider base to work with. We might as well take some raw umber and add to the edges of this so everything looks cohesive. All right, so let's see what we can come up with for embellishments. So I want to start with some florals at the top. I think I'm also going to add some snow text to this, but we're going to start with, we'll do everything else, and then we'll add the snow text last so that we don't mess it up. I've got several different types of florals here, and I'm thinking about using all three. So let's just see. I've got these that are flocked, and these came from Amazon. Everything came from Amazon, okay? So we're just going to start by just kind of creating a little, you know, little bit of floral on the top. And so I've got this kind here as well that has a little bit more of like a realistic look. I think I'm going to do all three up here. I like that. So let's grab another and do another bunch like that. And we can take these and just zip tie them together, and then we'll just bend it to put on the top. I think I'm gonna do berries as well. So I gotta see, do I wanna do a full stem of berries? And I'm gonna use these, not these. I want the brighter red. Okay, I think I like that. I'm going to grab another stem. We're going to do a full stem on each side. All of these florals are from Amazon. Just so you know. Just want to make sure whenever you get florals that you fluff them up because they come smashed, essentially. Okay, anytime you get florals, you want to make sure to fluff them really well. Okay, so we're putting all of this together and making kind of like a little swag type deal. And I'm just going to grab a zip tie and zip tie it all together. Okay. All right, let's get that nice and tight. And then I'll take my wire cutters and I'm just going to remove the excess stems. All of these extra details is what's going to make this birdhouse really pop and look Christmassy. Okay, so now I'm going to take this and bend it so that it'll sit on top of the birdhouse like that. Okay, I might actually have it to where it's a little bit off. I think like that, to where I've got a little bit more on one side. Does that make sense? Kind of like that. All right, and I'm going to glue this on, and then we'll add probably a bow. I don't know, we'll see. Maybe some bells, maybe some pine cones. Who knows? So I'm just going to take some hot glue. Let me, oh no, y'all, I'm out of glue sticks. I think I've got some. Hang on. Let me see. Here we go. Got the short ones. Okay. All right. So let's just add some glue right here for this to adhere to. This is where my temperature on my glue stick needs to be on low, and it is not on low. So after that, we can fluff this up a little bit and just kind of play with it. Okay, so here's where we're at right now. Okay, so let's see here. I've got some pine cones here. These big pine cones from these stems. I think they would be really pretty up here. I kind of like that. I'm going to twist these together. And then I think what I can do is twist these around another stem here. That's pretty. Okay, now I've got this ribbon here, which is wired. I don't know if we have any more of this. We used to have this on the website. I think it's all gone. I'm going to make a bow with this, a sort of a fluffy bow. I'm just going to take and make a loop, twist it, and then I just kind of spread it apart like this. And then I'll just start making loops. I'm going to make a loop, give it a twist, bring it back to the middle, twist, loop it, back to the middle, twist it, loop it, back to the middle, and twist. Okay, I'm going to do one more on each side. No, Pat, is the Birdhouse on the website? It is not on the website. This is a Thrifty Thursday project. So it is not on the website. But a lot of the stuff I'm using is on the website. All right, so then I'll just take another piece of ribbon, push it through the middle, and then I'll just flip this over, holding this nice and tight, and tie this all together. Okay, so then we're gonna fluff this up. Get this fluffy little bow going. Like that. Nice and big. And this is gonna go right up here. Y'all know I like it big, right? Okay, look how cute. This is already looking Christmassy, just doing those few things. All right, so I'm going to glue this on, I think. Right here in this spot. It does. It matches the birdhouse really well, doesn't it? Okay, and we're going to trim all of these tails. I'm pretty happy with this already. I got all this other stuff, but now I'm like, I don't even know if I need this other stuff because this is super cute like it is. I don't even know if we need anything else. Okay. So I'm going to trim the tails here. That tail's a little short. That's all right. Let's cut this one shorter. Balance it out. Okay. All right. So here's where we're at right now. Already, look how cute that is. And so that's the reason why I decided not to do the green star, because I was going to have the greenery. And so that's where I was going to bring in that green. So now I thought about putting some things down here. You know what? We forgot about the perch. Dang it. It needs to be painted as well. Y'all didn't remind me to paint the perch. Okay, had a little bit of red paint left. I do have a little cardinal over here that I'm hoping to add. I was thinking about adding some trees. I'm second guessing that now. And now, to be honest, I'm thinking about taking that base off. I don't know. We'll see. We'll play with it and see how it looks. Okay. So we got our perch painted. Let me grab my file. I gotta find the perch hole. Just push my file in here and just twist. I'm gonna hammer this in so that I don't mess it up, get it dirty with my fingers. Okay. I still have to touch it up. Big mess. All right. Okay. So here's where we're at. So I've got this little cardinal that we were going to use yesterday, I think, on the pumpkin snowman, or one day. So I was thinking about putting him right on the little perch. I could also put him in the florals. I don't know if I like him or not, but he's got this little wire on here. So let me wire him on and y'all can tell me whether you like him or not. See if I can get him to stay. Enough so that I can show y'all what it looks like. Well, darn. There we go. Okay, what do y'all think? Cardinal or no cardinal? Now, my other thought was to do a couple of bottle brush trees. And so I only have these white ones, which we can paint them. We can paint them green. Let's see here how this looks. I'm pretty sure I had two small ones. I'm only seeing something smaller. Hang on. There's another one around here somewhere. No cardinal. Cardinal on the roof. Cardinal, no cardinal. It's cute both ways. Okay, let's do the other stuff and we'll see. Hang on. I'm going to get... Here we go. Another tree. Okay, I do sort of like that. So let's paint the trees green. What time is it? It's already almost 6 o'clock, y'all. Let's paint the trees green. I'm going to mix a green because I want a deep green. So this is forest green and we're going to mix it with raw umber. In order to get a deep green. You love the trees on the bottom? Good. Okay, let me get a brush. I'm going to use one of these brushes. Let me just mix this. You know, sometimes it's like raw umber, it doesn't do anything when you add it to other colors. Okay. All right, so let's grab our brush, and then I just kind of am removing some of that paint. I'm gonna put on some gloves. I'm gonna be smart and put on some gloves because this gets a little messy. Okay. All right, and then you just start tapping like this. And we're going to add some snow text back to these trees. So we'll still have that snowy flocked look. So just get all the way in there. Y'all, I didn't do enough paint. Okay. And you can just then take your brush and just kind of do this up and down to fix the bristles. And there's our green tree. That's going to look really pretty. Okay, let's do a smaller one. So don't worry about like messing the tree up or anything like that, because that can all be fixed. Oh, no, my husband's home, which means we're going to go out to dinner, so I got to hurry up. Okay. So we're just going to take the brush and just do this to fix those bristles. Just like that. And there's our tree. Maybe we just do 3 of them so I don't have to mix more paint. And we'll do the biggest one and the smallest one and then the medium one on the other side. Okay. There we go. All right, let's dry those. The heat tool also helps to get these back into shape. All right. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to take the cardinal off for now. Let's get the trees on, see how that looks. So we're going to do the biggest and the smallest, and then the medium size on the other side. So I'm just going to hot glue those on. And then we can adjust them a little bit after we get them glued down. Okay, this one. That's cute. I think all we need is some snow text. Let me see about the cardinal. I don't think I like the cardinal on there. Now, if Trisha decides she wants it on, we can add it. But I feel like it's a little too busy. And so I don't think I like it on there. I think it's just a little too much. So I'm going to opt to leave it off. I think that I'm happy with it. So I think I'm going to grab the snow tax. Here it is. And let's add some snow tax to this to finish it off, okay? All right. So we'll take and put it on the trees first. So we have, oops daisies. Well, that's all right. We'll make that work. So we have some snowy trees. And this stuff you can, do as much or as little as you want with it. Let's see. Let's do a little back here. Okay. Let's do some on the birdhouse itself. I'm going to add some around the star. Just kind of make it look snowy, Definitely some here in the opening. Like that. And then I accidentally spilt some over here, so I'm going to add some over here and do like a, little blip there, like it's fallen off of these leaves right here. Like that. And we'll do some over here around the trees. And over here around these trees. Just sort of pile some on there. We might as well put some over here on this side, since we put some on the other side. Carissa. And then, of course, we've got to have some on the roof as well, and on some of this floral up here. So I'm going to just get it all over me. I'm going to just dab some of this onto some of these florals, some of this berries. Definitely on some of these pine cones. I love Snowtex. This stuff is so good. We're about done. Like I said, we do the Snowtex last because you've got to just let it sit and dry on its own. Add some here on the roof. Just play with it, y'all. Just add it, you know, wherever feels right. I think that looks pretty good. Look at that. Didn't that turn out so beautiful? I love a birdhouse. I think they're so much fun. So much fun. So this birdhouse right here was a thrift store makeover. It started out blue and honestly not very cute. And we just took it over the top. Y'all, my phone's about to die. I just noticed. So Trisha says she loves it. So this is going to her house for Christmas this year. And we used lots of florals on there, Snowtex. We used some sheet music, which you can get from thecelebrationcompany.com, as well as all of the paint we used. You can get that 15% off today. All of the florals came from Amazon, all right? And we used all 3 different styles as well. So there we have it. I think it turned out super duper cute. I hope y'all like it. All right, y'all. Well, thank you so much for joining me twice today. I hope you all enjoyed this. I'll see you all back here tomorrow afternoon for another Christmas in July project. Thank you all so much for joining me. I love you.